Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Red and Blue News. We are back. Welcome to the new season, the 2018 and 2019 season of the Red and Blue Review with me and the superstar alongside me here. Already live on the screen, as you can see, the famous Gel Holyoke. Welcome back, big man.
Yeah, same to yourself, mate.
Thank you. We've got quite a few of these to get through this season, you know that.
Yeah, it's all gone a little bit too quick.
And for the benefit of everybody looking out online right now, there's already 15 of you out there. Good evening. I'll cover the good evenings in a minute. But you will notice that there's already a better clarity of picture and sound quality, and the fact that we're both on air together because we are now using some new software. So before we get into the good evening and welcomes to everybody that's out there, I want to say some thank yous before we start. In the background, we have Sean Feeney, who's collated a load of information for the show tonight. As always, thank you. Ben Allen has arranged this evening's special guest that we'll come on to shortly. Again, thank you, Ben. And most of all, and most importantly, to our producer, John Ellicott, who has arranged all this new software. He has been working tirelessly through the summer. So thank you, John. Jill and I are most grateful.
Well, I wouldn't say tirelessly. I'd say he's been working on it.
He's been busy. He's been busy. He's got all that stuff going on in his private life. Yeah, he's still going on and he's still trying to work on our behalf. So we are very grateful. Well. So anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Red and Blue News. Already 23 people out there watching us. Now, I just wanted to touch base on the people that have joined us through the summer. If this is your first Red and Blue review, you are most welcome, including our regulars. But we are now the fastest growing live Facebook page, Palace Facebook page out there. Undoubtedly, we've had something like 600 since we went off air. We've had something like 500 or 600 new members join us over the summer. So thank you, each and every one of you. You are welcome wherever you are watching worldwide. And I know when I say worldwide, I don't use that term lightly. Norway, Sweden, Canada, Australia, wherever you're watching, you're welcome. And of course, Les is full of that in France, of course. So thank you for joining us. It's really great to have you on board. We've got lots happening to this show over the coming season, and we want you involved in it. This is your show. This is a couple of lads sitting in a pub with the ability now to bring some of you on screen with both Gel and I. This is not the Nick Philpott show.
Some pub this, mate.
Go, you keep going. I told you I'm going to be rabbiting for the first few minutes. This is the Nick and Gel show, but more importantly, yes, it's the Nick and Gel show. We've got the ability now with this new software to bring you guys in and come and have a chat with us. Let's have a conversation. We want you involved. We want you involved all season. But more importantly than that, we want you to tell all your Palace friends that we exist. There's still lots of Palace people that we haven't got on board. We want you involved. We want you in. Tell them on the other pages. Go and have a look at Nick and Gel's Red and Blue review. We're going to be on after every game. I'm talking for Gel here. Every game this season, I believe that we're going to be covering at some point. Nod your head, thank you. Right, on to tonight's show. So this evening we are going to be doing. Hi, Lucy, how you doing? Hi, Tim. Chris Gunn, good evening, mate. We can see Grant Saunders as well. Okay, I'm going to stop at Grant Saunders if you don't mind, Gel. Can I make that announcement now?
Yeah, go on in.
First bit of news for you, everybody. We've got a couple of bits and pieces to tell you as the show goes on. Grant, pin your ears back. I'm coming your way. Right, ladies and gentlemen, Grant Saunders. He is the owner of the Eagles Have Landed page. The Eagles Have Landed page. Many of you are on lots of the Palace sites. In my mind, the Eagles Are Landed and the Red and Blue News is probably the two best ones because we don't allow idiots. So once we find an idiot that might have crept through the system, we both bin them. Okay, and that's what we like. Yeah, off with their heads. And they go. We will not have disrespect to other members. We will not have disrespect to the admin staff because we're doing this free of charge and in our own time. So, big announcement, everybody. Last year, you will remember that we had a very successful boat trip with lots of the pages coming together, which is what my intention is, to get as many of the good quality pages together and their members. And we raised a load of money for the Mayday Radio. These are the guys, that, again, for those of you who didn't watch it, were the guys that would sit in Sellers Park free of charge, okay, and broadcast to the partially sighted in the ground. They do this every week, tirelessly, for 3 years, 30 years that some of these guys have been doing it. Well, Grant Saunders and myself and Gel and a couple of other guys behind the scenes have decided what we would like to do. Big announcement, everybody. Big announcement is we are going to be playing on each other's page. Okay, so we're going to be supporting each other. The Eagles Have Landed page is absolutely first class, and we fully support it. In the future, you're even going to see Red and Blue News advertised on Grant's flag. Now, that flag goes up and down the country, or his flags, both of them, go up and down the country all the time. And we are going to be not amalgamating. We're going to be two separate pages. We are just going to be working in conjunction with each other to raise as much money, because we want about £2,500 for Mayday Radio. Now, the beauty about all this, of course, the fixture list. The fixture list came out today, and we can start immediately, because no less, in fact, Grant told me, he'd obviously got a rumour from somewhere, that we were playing Fulham before the fixture list came out at 9 o'clock this morning. About 20 to 9 this morning, he sent me a message, it's Fulham, and I've just booked the boat. And at about 9:05, he texted me again to say, the boat is now booked and confirmed. So you'll hear lots more about that as the season starts, or as we get into the season. So Eagles Have Landed on your manor, okay, Red and Blue News, one big happy Palace family, two separate entities working in tandem for the benefit of the charity. So if any of you want to find out more, stay tuned. So that's enough from me. I'm just going to give people a rundown of what we're going to be doing this evening. So we're going to be talking to start with about the fixtures, of course, and Joel and I will go into that in a minute. Part two, we're going to be talking about some transfer news that we may or may not have, and we've got some other bits and pieces. We've got a special guest later on. Should I tell about the special guest now, Joe?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Later on in this feature, roughly about 8:30, we will have Rob from the Croydon Advertiser. Okay, he's the Palace correspondent for the Croydon Advertiser. Highly knowledgeable about our club, highly well informed, and I'm hoping he might have some news for us. He's got a rough idea of what we're going to be talking about. He knows what we're going to be chatting about, but we'll be talking to Rob a little bit later. So we're going to kick off the show, Joe, with the fixture list. Let's just say who's on the line first of all. Good evening, Damon. I hope you're well, buddy. We've got John Knox. Hi, mate. Jason's asking a question. John saying hello to you, Joe. Jason has asked the first question of the evening. Will Fulham get moved? Now, we don't know. Obviously, we don't know that. I will give you a fixture that will be moved before we get into the fixtures in great detail. I will tell you now, everybody, in case you haven't worked it out. And I've got to say also thank you to Carl Davis, who I forgot to say thank you to at the beginning of the show. Palace versus Arsenal on the 27th of October will be moved. And the reason for that is that week Arsenal are in Europe, okay? So our game will either be moved to the Sunday or Monday that week. You heard it here first. So that game will definitely be moved. As for answering your question, Jason, I do hope for Grant's sake that the Fulham game doesn't get moved because he's already booked the boat. Matt Philpott is watching from America. I hope you're safe, mate. Kevin Weaver, how are you, buddy? I'm working in Cirencester now, mate. Come and say hello. Right, fixtures. So the first fixture, Joe, the first one. Happy with the away? Happy with the first fixture? Away game? Yeah.
Well, whatever. It doesn't really matter anyway, does it?
Can you get the day off and come and join me on the boat? Because everybody wants to meet Jill Holyoke.
Oh, I don't know why. Can I come on your boat? Right.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Yeah, no, I couldn't go to the last one at the end of the season, but yeah, I'll make a concerted effort and make sure that I'm there for this one. Like I said, like you've already said, the charities, and we're affiliated now with this charity. We are going to, along with a lot of other people, going to try and raise as much money as we can so that the Mayday Radio can broadcast. I know that there's some money left over from last season, I think, which goes into this. I think. Yep. But yeah, I know we can raise enough money, and like I say, it's nice to be affiliated with that, and it ties into the boat into the boat ride down to Craven Cottage. So yeah, it's a good start.
Now I'm just going to, in case you can't see the screen, Jill, John's very kindly put the fixtures up. So the first fixtures, and we've got Fulham away, Liverpool at home, a toughie, Watford away, and then Southampton at home. Pretty standard, bog standard running, don't you think? It's a running kick off to the season.
Well, yeah, it could have been a nightmare, couldn't it?
Anything that scares you there?
No, because I think as long as we not selling too many star players, and we can get the players back from the World Cup without being smashed up, and get our players fit. I think we saw at the end of the season, that we can have a go. We really can have a go. So
I think the most important one there, Jill, of course, is the Saturday the 18th. The one that scares me out of those particular opening fixtures would be Liverpool at home with Mo Salah and the boys. Would it not?
Well, it would scare everyone, wouldn't it? I mean, the thing is, I know that talking to a couple of scousers in a week, they're about to spend £100 million on two players. They're going to be quality. I think the centre midfielder they're looking at, he's supposed to be turning down the likes of Madrid and Barcelona to go to Liverpool. So, but yeah, no, I mean Liverpool they're a good side. City have strengthened already. I believe they probably spent 50 million or whatever they, per player, whatever they spend these days. So yeah, everyone's going to strengthen, apart from us at the moment. But like I said, I thought we had a half decent squad. We were just, it was unprecedented last season to lose that amount of players through virtually half a season was just down to bad luck, really bad luck. So, but finishing where we did and finishing above the old enemy and giving them a 7-game start, that's banter enough, and still finishing above them. Just joyous, really.
Okay, I've got a question for you. Palace have only got one player at the World Cup. Okay, is that a blessing for us?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's a tough season, and I think out of all the seasons, possibly, I personally thought if we were going to go, it was going to be last season, and it weren't going to be because of getting caned every week in, week out, because we didn't. I mean, I thought we only took a couple of beatings last season. One of those on the opening day against Huddersfield. I thought they were much better than us, and that was that could have been a lot worse. So, but yeah, I think we'll be up for it. I think we'll be more up for it this year, and I think as long as we've got players that are having a nice break and just chilling. See a lot of pictures of Will flying about the place with his pals and that. See him on a plane today or wherever it was. He's coming back with his mates. So we need happy players. We need happy players, and when they meet up, I think it's is it the 1st of July they all meet up, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so, because that's when Guaita and
that's quite strange, really. I don't know, it's strange, but it's a Sunday, which is a little bit weird. I know that because it's my wife's birthday. So
it may be. It turns out to be the 2nd. Jason's asked you a question, Jill. Read the Liverpool game. We need to remember that teams don't like coming to sell us. Now I'll carry on that before you respond. Please don't forget, Liverpool also don't have the best in records at Palace. Think 3-3. Think Christian Ball. And your thoughts on the Liverpool one?
I don't think anybody enjoys coming down. I think what it does, it has to make them more determined. They definitely have to be more determined. I mean, if they just turn up and think they're going to play us off the park, that's not going to happen. But I think what we've got is we've got a few players now that have settled in. I mean, PVA, from being someone who I thought just turned up in his Rolls Royce, got his dough and then dived off. So now an absolute integral part of the team. He's someone who's obviously settled. He's talking to the fans on social media. He really is. I mean, he's tweeted today. First game you know, he's tweeted about the first game of the season, Fulham away.
I saw it.
Do you know what I mean? It's fantastic, and I like the fact that he's, you know, that he is interacting with the fans. But we've got players that are settled down now. Luca just looks like world class to me. Now he's had a you know, that hard season, that tough season where he's had to be the man. You know, I think that no team is going to enjoy coming down to our place. And I think that this, you know, Fortress Selhurst is what we need this season. We really need that because we know what we can do away. We can hit teams on it. We are, but I would say we're in the top, probably 3 or 4 in the Premier League for breakaway football, without doubt. Everybody's scared of us. Every single day, every team's scared of us.
You've also missed the massive news today. Forget the fixtures coming out today. Forget the fact that the World Cup started and Russia just beat whoever it was, Saudi Arabia 5-0. You missed the big news today on Twitter. Okay, your mate was on his treadmill already.
Go on.
Thank you, Jason. Christian Benteke was already back training. You must be impressed.
No. Listen, there's a couple of players. If had they left, I would have said fantastic. I would have said just you know, whatever. But if Benteke stays, then I'll support him. But it's tough. See, he had a good first year where he had 15 goals and he had 3 goals last year. So yeah. Let's see where he is. Let's see where he is after the first. 10 games. Let's give him 10 games. Yeah. I think 10 games is a. And I think what that does as well, that it gives us that run up to Christmas, to the window, where if he isn't working for him, the fans are on his case. It won't just be the fans on his case. If he don't score goals, the players and the club will be on his case. Then I think that will decide whether he's still at the club. And I thought you was going to say punching then.
Actually, remind me about punching a minute. We're going to come back to punching in a second. I've got some more breaking news that everybody that's watching out there now, and thank you to each and every one of you as always. But my understanding via one of our very close colleagues on the page is keep your ears pinned back, everybody listening, because Palace are sometime next week are going to be announcing a friendly at Selhurst, a pre-season friendly at Selhurst Park, and they're going to be announcing it sometime next week. So again, remember you heard it here on the Red and Blue News.
Okay. Big team coming to Selhurst.
Team, not I don't know about who it is at the moment. John, could you kindly put the fixtures back up, because I want to go back to the fixture list if you don't mind. And you'll notice it, guys, in the background that every time one of us mentions something, John is responding straight away. This is how the operation is moved forward on Red and Blue News, and I thank you very much. On the screen, any second now, you're going to see the fixtures come back up, ladies and gentlemen. So September, we move on to Southampton, Huddersfield, Newcastle, and Bournemouth. Nothing to worry about there, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I'll make you right. I think Newcastle away is always a stressful one for me. But yeah, I think we'll be all right.
Well, if you look,
like I said, I think the big thing for us this year is not having injuries. That's the thing. If we can just not have as many injuries, I think we'd do all right. I mean, I'm excited by Gator coming now after all that fiasco of every single Spanish club, out there is apparently going to sign him. I think that was obviously his agent trying to big him up. But yeah, I just.
So can you see that list of fixtures there, Joe? Yeah.
No, no, I'm just going on it. I'm just going on to.
All right. Well, I'll read them out to you. Okay. So Fulham, Watford, Southampton, Huddersfield, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Wolves, and then we go on to a bit of a tough November. And I think it's fair to say that it's quite a decent start. Carl says that he thinks we should get off to that. Should have a decent start. Now, my son, Sam, you met Sam, Jill. He's done a little calculation for us. Okay, bearing in mind where we were after 7 games last season, not a single goal and not a single point. So what he's done, he's taken that fixture list, which includes Fulham, Liverpool, Watford, Southampton, Huddersfield and Newcastle, and possibly Bournemouth, and he's actually done a little calculation. And he believes by the same period next season, or this season coming, that we will be on 10 points. And he's pretty good. He does pretty well on his little betting. 10 points at the same period last year. If you then added that to our finishing position last year, what did we end up on? 42 points, was it? Was it 42?
Pass. Something. Okay. It was 40 something anyway.
Somebody will tell us. 42 points. That would then give us 52 points. Okay. Well, tell me that's not a European, a top half, well into the top half, but top 10 finish, top 8 finish even at 52 points. Because I reckon it probably would be. And a lot of those games that we did lose, of course, we played very well in. We finished on 44. Thank you, Carl. Can you see the questions on the screen, Joe?
No, I can't see anything. I'm having murders on Facebook at the moment. So
he's having technical difficulties. That's fine. Okay, well, not to worry. So, fixtures again. Most important ones of all, Joe. Okay. Which one would you have picked out that would be our most important one? Should we do the Brighton game?
Yeah, go on. October something, isn't it?
No. Brighton is, I beg your pardon, I think I might have flogged you a duck on that. Brighton games are Tuesday, the 4th of December away.
Right.
But it is a Tuesday, as I said, yeah. And the home game is Saturday, the 9th of March. Now, is everybody out there happy with that? Thank you for all your messages on the 44 points, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think so. I don't care when we play them, as long as we beat them. I honestly don't care when we play them. I'm a little bit disappointed that, well, it looks like one of them could be a TV game. So, and I think, yeah, I'd like for. Well, I think we deserve it, like a TV game, second season. So probably the second one will be moved. But again,
really?
yeah, I do. Yeah, I think they'll move that Saturday, move it to a Sunday. If one of us is flying as well, or if both of us are flying. Excuse the pun, but I think.
What's your luck,
I know. But yeah, no, I think we deserve a TV game. I think it's a big enough derby, But yeah.
Okay. Now the Christmas schedule. Now I know you've been working all day. You haven't had a chance to study this in great form, but the Christmas schedule really starts on Saturday the 15th of December. Leicester at home.
Yeah.
Then it's Man City away. Then Boxing Day is Cardiff at home. Saturday the 29th it's Chelsea at home, and on New Year's Day it's Wolves away. Now there are some a couple of tricky ones. So Man City and Chelsea in there. I know we did quite well against Chelsea, but that was your thoughts on those fixtures. So Leicester, Man City, Cardiff, Chelsea, and Wolves.
Well, sort of an half and half, really, and they've thrown us in because what I was under the false impression was that they just threw all the teams into a computer algorithm, and it came out with fixtures. But these are, I've now since found out that they actually pick these, especially for TV. So there's just not completely boring fixtures. There are specifically done, but it seems to have thrown us a couple of easy, a couple of average and a couple of hard ones. So
well, I think if you look at the fixture list, I just want to refer to something that Paul Ross said.
The start's the same, isn't it? The start and then the middle. What's the end like?
Okay, well, coming on to that, Paul Ross has just said Sussex Police not learning from last season, alluding to the fact that it's a Tuesday night. Sussex Police get everything that they deserve in my eyes. So we're going to move on. The end of the season, the run into the season. Now, you mentioned just now, Jill, that you thought that we've got a couple of easier ones and a couple of difficult ones. To me, that what you just said there, in a nutshell, actually sums up the fixture list for the season, because we don't have that awful, god-awful period where we're playing all the top 4 back-to-back, and then it's the changes, the away games or whatever it is for the rest of the season. We don't have that. They're spread out right the way throughout the season. The only exception to that was the November fixtures, where I believe we've got 2 or 3 of the top ones. I can't remember. I think Man United are in there and a couple of others. But in answer to your question, what's the run-in like? The run-in is in starting. I've actually put it down for the 20th of April, which is away at Everton. Sorry, I beg your pardon. The 20th of April, away at Arsenal, home to Everton. Saturday the 4th of May, away at Cardiff, and the final fixture of the season will be Sunday the 12th of May, at home to Bournemouth. So I'll just give you that again. Arsenal, Everton, Cardiff, and Bournemouth.
Yeah, I'd settle for that. I'd settle for that without a doubt if we're having to chase points again. So I can't see, to be honest with you, I think can't see Cardiff doing anything. I really can't. I don't want to put a down on any team, but they were pretty much the yo-yo that we were, through the early 2000s, just up and down, and that's what I think. I think they're one season wonders, but I could be wrong. I think Bournemouth. I'm not too sure about Bournemouth. They're they're us, aren't they? They're 1 minute they're good, next minute they're pretty bad. So, but I think they'll. I'd settle. There's a few games that right the way through the season where you just go, do you know what? I'd take a draw. I'd take a draw there. I'd take a draw there. And Bournemouth, as always for me, I'd take a draw there. We always think they have good games with them. So 2-2 last year. It was 2-2 at home, 2-2 away. We've had, we have some good games with him. There's some good games with Burnley as well. So,
I'm also keeping my eye on the messages coming through. Grant Saunders has said official complaints remain ongoing. Re last season's match, with Brighton. He's all over it, and he'll keep us updated. That was from Grant Saunders. He's quite right. Is it Rob Sutherland on 5-year plan? He's extremely. Is it Rob Sutherland? Am I right? No.
Well, Rob Sutherland is on 5-year plan. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's the guy that I believe is something to do with the legal profession, and he is all over the official complaint to
good for him,
Sussex Police. And
I honestly don't think he should be. As small-minded as it might seem to other teams and stuff like that, but that police force literally tried to smear us. And it can't. This is not Mickey Mouse stuff anymore. They should not be allowed to do what they do. They should not be allowed to treat us like they treat us. This is just. It's almost going back to the days of when I was a kid. You used to get the SPG come round in a van, and if you were standing there just kicking the ball against the wall, they got out and some of them just give you a good thumping, and give you a good thumping. That was John. That was what you guys can't hear. He's John's our producer, and we can hear him, and he has literally just go. It was his wife, by the way. It wasn't even him. Anyway, so what the police would do is give you a good thumping, and then you'd go home. And then when I got indoors, I was bashed up and bloodied. My old man had asked me what I'd done. I said I got a kicking off the old bill. My old man used to bash me up and all, just for being bashed up by the police.
God, do you know how lucky we are? Because as you're talking, Gel, somebody Carl's on the page saying the support was Truster on it as well. It has the official support from the Fans Federation.
Yeah, that's it. Amanda, something her name is.
And they are. It's really good. It's really good. And I think great. It'd be interesting to see what they do next year because I was there. I witnessed it, and they were. I didn't see any of the violence or anything like that, and I didn't see. I feel for the people that are locked out and all that sort of stuff. But even when we were corralled outside the ground, they were just. So first of all, they were all tooled up. They were in their riot gear. And there wasn't any problems outside the ground that I saw. They were just there in this typical confrontational. Anyway, we digress. We're supposed to be talking about the fixtures. Amanda Jacks, thank you, Jason.
That's it. But anyway, just a little bit added to that. I just hope that the people that didn't get their just desserts in and are financially compensated, because, like I say, that's a fiasco, and that should not be allowed to happen. It wouldn't happen up here with the Met, and quite literally, it shouldn't happen down there. So. I don't know whether it's a slight against Brighton Football Club. I absolutely don't care. But if it's just literally against the Sussex Police, then I get whatever they. So, but
we're about to be joined by our very special guest. shortly. He's the Croydon Advertisers' Rob Warlaw, okay, who's, as I said before, he's extremely knowledgeable on Palace. What he doesn't know about Palace isn't worth knowing. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times, and I think he might be joining us any time now. Are you there, Rob?
Hello.
Hello, Rob. Good evening, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Yourself?
All right, buddy. And this is the first time, just to let you know, you have the honour of being the first person that we've actually brought on live to the show with both Gel and I on it at the same time. Normally one of us has to drop off and the other one's better. Have you seen Met, by the way?
No.
Gel, Rob, pull off.
How you doing?
Okay.
He's not as good looking as Mark Ritson. That's I'm a bit disappointed.
Right, so we're going to kick off talking about Palace, of course, Rob. Okay. So Southampton's first game is Burnley, I understand.
Yeah.
Now, Gel's looking up as if to say, "What is he talking about?" Explain what I just said, Rob.
Oh, I know. He's a Southampton fan.
So everybody thinks your allegiance is Selhurst Park and all things Crystal Palace, but the reality is you're a Southampton fan. So when do we? If John could put the fixtures back up again, when have we got Southampton?
1st September, I believe it is.
Oh, it's not you check then.
No.
Where is that? Home or away?
At Selhurst, yeah.
3 points. Oh, we would be
Probably.
Actually, what is our record like against Southampton? We beat them last year, didn't we?
At Southampton or at Selhurst?
Both.
I think it's mixed is probably the best way of saying it. I think down at St Mary's, if it's a cup game, Palace tends to do well. If it's a league game, not so much. But they did, obviously, Palace did win there last year. But yeah, at home, I certainly remember the last couple of years. Well, last year was obviously in one of the 7 defeats for Palace, but the year before was probably the worst performance I've seen from a Southampton side in a long time. They got beat 3-0 when Palace were in that terrible run under Alan Pardew, and it sort of kept him in the job for a couple more weeks. I think the win.
That's a bloody shame, isn't it? So tell us about this new role. Have you now officially taken over from Mark Ritson?
As Crystal Palace correspondent, yes, I suppose. I mean, Mark was working alongside me last year as part of Trinity Mirror, as we were. We're now called Reach, and now I write for Football London online and in the paper for Croydon Advertiser. So it's always been part of the same company. It's just sort of merged in the Crystal Palace coverage over the summer.
Cool. We're going to be talking after the break with reference to transfers, if that's okay with you, Rob, which is, I know, your area of expertise. But ladies and gentlemen, over to John Ellicott in the background, and we're going to take a quick break.
Hello everyone, you're watching a Red and Blue review with Nick and Gel on Red and Blue News.
Hello everyone, it's Andy Johnson, Crystal Palace Football Club. I hope you're well. Are you watching the Red and Blue review with Nick and Gel on Red and Blue News?
Going in now, here we go. Okay, so those of you can see the screen, because I know Rob can't. That wasn't Gel Holyoke on screen. That was the famous Neil Shipley after playing one of the charity games at Selhurst Park. Right, Rob, Kabai's been offered a new deal, verbal agreement. Can you give us any update on that agreement?
As far as I understand it, obviously he's been offered a new deal. It's lesser deal in terms of what he would be on wage wise. I think that's fairly commonly known. He was mulling it over a couple of weeks ago. He's been on holiday. I think they've given him the time while he's been on holiday to sort of talk it over with his family and decide what he's going to do. It's the ball's certainly in his court to decide yes or no. I think Palace is still confident that he, along with the other 3 who are out of contract, will sign deals. But obviously, until anything's announced, everyone's sort of got that niggling doubt, haven't they, as to whether they will or not.
Okay, I don't know if you can see a screen, Rob, but you are getting asked questions from the viewing public. Okay, and they're actually asking the first question now. I can't see who it was. It's disappeared off screen now. Has just asked: are there actually any Crystal Palace supporters still working at the Advertiser?
On the sports team, no. In the the news desk side of it, which is now a separate office. I think there's still one or two around, that still exist that are Palace fans. So yes, it's not everybody's gone who were.
Right, possible loans this summer. So, talk to me about your views on RLC, Rivers Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah.
Do you think that's viable or not?
I think it really depends on the World Cup. I think it's made it complicated, certainly, him being in the England squad. I think if he hadn't gone to Russia, Palace would stand a better chance. I think if he has a good World Cup, it will probably adversely affect whether Palace can get him back next season or not. I think a lot comes down to Chelsea at the end of the day, to be honest. It depends on who's the manager there, whether he fancies Loftus-Cheek, whether he wants him in his side next season, or if he feels that another loan deal is possible. I don't see it being a permanent deal for Loftus-Cheek this summer. I think if Palace get him back, it will be a loan again, but I think he's going to have to wait until after the World Cup, so that's one that we'll have to wait on for a few weeks yet, and obviously that does limit what Palace can do in the loan market in the meantime, because they've got to leave a space if they want to get Loftus-Cheek back.
Yeah, I agree. And Joe, your thoughts on the possibility of getting Loftus-Cheek back in?
Well, like Rob just said, I think it's only going to be. It's only going to be a loan, unless he really. I mean, he can force a move through. If he thinks that he wants to, he knows he's going to get first team football, for the foreseeable future. I don't see why we can't be buying England players, but in saying that, for the fee that they're going to want, the wages that he'll command, I do think we'd have to sell a big player. So it swings and roundabouts, really.
Well, we're going to come back onto the selling of a big player in a minute. Do you think, Rob? Do you think Joel Ward will leave us?
I don't. I think it's very much obviously his decision as to whether. I think he knows that if he stays, he's not going to be playing as much as he has been. Because I think with Aaron Wan-Bissaka coming through, I think that's probably what Palace have made clear to him, is that if you do sign, don't expect to be playing 30 odd games each season now, because he's had that right back slot as his own for quite a few years. Obviously this year just gone, he did have a few injuries, and with Fosu-Mensah in as a loan deal and Wan-Bissaka emerging as he did, I think now Roy Hodgson will see that Joel Ward is a good squad player to have. I don't think there's any doubting that. If he decides to sign a new deal, then I think he'll be Palace fans will be happy with that he's still at the club. But I don't expect him to be playing every week. I think that he'll be competing with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He'll probably be playing a few games like we saw last season. Roy brought him out of the side, Wan-Bissaka, when he felt that perhaps Joel Ward's experience was better for a derby game, and he kept him in for a few games. I think that's the sort of role you might see Joel Ward playing next season. I don't think he's going to be first choice every week at right back.
Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the show, I did say to you that we believe that we have a couple of possible exclusives. Nothing's been confirmed, and I'm going to be speaking to Rob and Jill about it in a second. And one of them, pin your ears back, that we've actually heard it on very good authority, that talking about the other loan space, Tammy Abraham is a possible loan. Have you heard anything the same? Rob?
Neil, Joe.
Sorry, Rob.
I believe that there's interest in him, but I don't think Palace are the only ones. I believe Newcastle and Cardiff are also looking at the possibility, exploring the possibility of whether they can get him in next season on loan. I think he will be one that Chelsea do let go for another season. I think he had a mixed season at Swansea. Didn't perhaps fire as much as people might have expected after what he did in the Championship. I think another season on loan would do him good. Whether Palace are the ones who will get him remains to be seen. I think that certainly that he's one player that they would be looking at, and obviously Chelsea know from last season how well they did with Ruben Loftus-Cheek, how well he developed. I think that would be in their favour if the deal was right.
Chris Brandrick's saying on the page that he's not sure that he would want Abrahams. What's your thought, Joe, on Tammy Abrahams?
I don't know a lot about him, mate, to be honest with you. other than the fact that if he's a Chelsea player, then he's going to be better than your average loanee. So, you know, it's a case of how he wants to come and fit into our club. I mean, Loftus-Cheek's come in and probably been the best loan that I think we've ever had through attitude. And I mean, I read a great stat about him. I think he played 1 in 4 games for Chelsea because he was injured all the time. You know, he's got a dodgy back. And yet, apart from that little bit of an injury that he had, nothing to do with his back. I think it was his knee. But I mean, he played more than half a season for us, which I've is fantastic. But you can see that, you know, his camaraderie that he built up with the players, and I think he's good for us. And I would be extremely pleased if we could nick him for another year. Honestly, it'd be just fantastic.
I think what you just said is right, because he's got you can see by the continuity of him playing every week how much he'd improved. So much so it got him into England recognition. What will be in his mind, boys, and I don't know if you agree with this, is that he'll be thinking that, you know, if I go back to Chelsea, am I going to go back to a season sitting on the bench at best? Because he's not going to break. Unless, you know, Rob's probably right. Depending on who comes in, he's not going to break through to the first team at Chelsea, is he?
I think there's a chance for him, and the reason being is because of what's going on with Abramovich at the moment. I don't know. Has he been given this visa to come back? Or is he still out the country?
No, Rob will probably put me right, but my understanding is that he's now got a Israeli passport visa, and that Israeli visa allows him freedom of movement into the UK at any point. Rob, am I right or wrong? Do you know?
I believe he still can get in. He can come to the country. Yeah, I think you're right. I can't remember if it is Israeli or I think he has got a visa elsewhere, which will enable him to be able to get into the country.
But Chelsea don't seem to be involved in the market, you know, in the buying of big players like they usually are. You know, they're not. Well, yeah, but we're not in the same. We're not in the same league of money as they are. So, you know, it's I don't know. It could work for us. It could work against us. So.
Okay, I want to move on to something else. Guys, out there again, another possible exclusive that's not been announced in the press formally, but we are aware that, and Rob, some verification from you would be useful. We are aware that Newcastle made a formal £18 million bid for Andros Townsend, and that formal bid has been turned down by the club. Is that right, or have you heard the same?
I haven't heard of a bid officially being lodged and rejected, but I'm aware that there is certainly has been talk of interest. It's not the first time Newcastle have been linked with a move for Townsend. Leicester have been as well. I believe that they've made inquiries in the past about Andros Townsend, but my understanding is that Palace, you know, are not keen to sell. I think it would take a considerable offer to change that stance.
Well, our sources tell us that he's actually not keen to move. That's what we're told. So
yeah, I think he's happy at the club. Every time I've spoken to him before, he's never hinted at anything different. I think he's enjoying the role. He's been playing last season. He's enjoying working with Roy. He obviously worked well with him at England. He said how much he's enjoying it at club level with him as well. So yeah, I don't see that it's he's not going to be trying to force a move, and I don't think the club would be willing to particularly sell at particularly cheaply. I think if they're even going to consider it, it's going to have to be a big bid.
From what we heard, that he didn't want to leave the club, but more important than that, and Joel's quite right, he's semi-alluded to it, he was deeply upset when the club said to him, look, we're aware of a bid from Newcastle, we won't be accepting it, but we've also heard that the club would be prepared to accept something just north of 20 million for him, and I personally think I'd be very disappointed.
Yeah, I think he showed last year, what he can do and how much of a team player he is. I think perhaps his output in terms of goals and assists, yes, could be improved. I think he said that before. He'd like to score more goals. He feels like he hasn't perhaps contributed enough in that sense. But actually, what he brings to the side with his work rate and tracking back and bringing everything to play, he does lay on assists and chances for other people. it's not all about goals and assists. I know that players who play in forward positions are judged on that, but to me, Andrew Townsend brings a lot more to the side than just, creating chances created for him and chances he creates. I think his work rate is, very much a plus on his side.
My worry is, my concern is that if we did accept a bid of around £20 million for him, they would then try and placate the Palace fans, the Palace faithful, and go and do something stupid like trying to take Balassi back from Everton. Please tell me you don't think that would work.
I don't see that happening. I don't think Palace will be going back to Balassi this summer. It's not particularly an area of the squad that desperately needs reinforcing. I think there are other areas that are more of a priority this summer. Depending obviously on those out of contract players. I think if Johan Cabaye or Joel Ward decide not to sign new deals, then they've got to be replaced, and I think they become more of a priority than trying to buy another winger when Palace has got two very good wingers already.
Joe, I'm going to ask you a question. Straight swap from Newcastle. Mitrovic is at Newcastle, isn't he, boys? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Straight swap. Townsend, Mitrovic.
No.
Even though you don't have a great love for Benteke.
No. That's. It's like saying swap Mitrovic for Benteke. I don't want to get involved in that. I'd rather sell Benteke and use the money for a younger striker. But Mitrovic, I've got a mate who used to work for Liverpool Football Club and now works for Newcastle, and he said he's mental. He is completely, absolutely barking mad, and he's no, not at all. I think when it's going really good for him, it's good. And when it's going really bad, he's not a team player. He's not. He goes missing.
Anything to add, Rob?
Mitrovic, I think he, on his day, is a very good player. But I think there are, we've seen in the past with him that he's got a bit of a temperament that he can. One bad tackle, he can get sent off. I think there is that in him. Obviously, he's still relatively young, so he could learn to get that out of his game. But I think actually, how much he's being valued at, I mean, it could look to be a snip if it stays at 20 million and he performs well for Serbia at the World Cup. But personally, I think Fulham are in pole position for him, given how well he did for them last year on loan. If they decide to pay that much for him, I think he's certainly someone. I mean, Roy's been complimentary about him in the past, so I can understand the link. I think he is a good player on his day, and he will score goals. But I'm not sure he's consistent enough, and I'm not sure that he's at the moment the right man for Palace.
It's quite interesting you mentioned Fulham, because I've seen reports today that Fulham have put in a joint £25 million bid for Dawson and Rodriguez from West Brom, which would probably then take out the need for Mitrovic, though, wouldn't it?
How much?
A joint £25 million bid for Craig Dawson and Jay Rodriguez.
It's Championship players going for 15 million quid to the Premier League. Why would they go for 12.5 mil? Can't see that happen.
My understanding is that Jay Rodriguez is favours a move to Burnley. He obviously from Burnley. I think Burnley, I know, are interested in signing him, and I think that with Burnley in European competition next season, I think that could sway that in their favour. Indeed.
Okay, talk to me about the signing on the 1st of July of Guaita from Getafe. Are you happy with that signing, Rob?
I think it's good to have extra competition in as a goalkeeper. I think Roy Hodgson made it known last year that he wanted 3 goalkeepers, hence bringing Diego Cavalieri after the window. I think he's a good signing as long as he settles quickly and can show what he can do. I think he's proved it at Getafe and La Liga that he is a top goalkeeper. Still 31. I mean, goalkeepers can tend to go on a bit longer and play to their late 30s, don't they? I mean, you see with Julian Speroni, he's 39, and people were still wanting him to sign a new deal for another season. So I think, if he can come in and adapt to English football quickly and settle, then he can be a very good signing. Obviously, what Palace fans won't want is Mandanda Mark II, and him to be, come in and not settle particularly well, and he then plays a few games perhaps and then doesn't get seen. Again, I think it's a good thing, because you look at Wayne Hennessy when he's had extra competition. In actual fact, in recent seasons, it seems to have brought the best out of him. I think. Steps up. Yeah, he stepped up. Like the second half of last season, once Cavalieri came in, he knew he had the extra cover behind him, a bit more experience. Then, he did. I thought he was one of the better performers in the second half of the season. I know some fans aren't particularly complimentary about him all the time, but I did think second half of last season he did step up and play well for Palace.
Joe, are you pleased with the signing of the new, and will he be our number one?
Well, you would think so, but in saying that, I think bringing Dean Carley into the club has completely transformed Hennessy. Honestly, I was like, we can't have this guy around our club anymore. He's literally, he just. But I don't know. I'm really pleased with the way Hennessy has all of a sudden. Maybe he just needs to be settled. All of a sudden, something clicks. Like Townsend, all of a sudden it clicks. Like we've got players all of a sudden they're doing nothing, and then they do what we want them to do. They get involved like we want them to do. They're not just playing for the money. They're playing for the badge, and they're getting involved with the fans on the field, off the field, and that's the ethos of our club. And I think sometimes it does take a little bit of getting used to be at our place. But listen, we need competition. I would just prefer if we were signing 25-year-olds. For me, that is, that's what I'd like to be doing. Instead of just keep signing people, that, it's only another few years, and need a new hip. You know what I mean? It's just going to be. I just would rather be signing 20-year-olds that would bode well for our. We're up against this FFP all the time. We're having to pay people big money to come and play for us, and we need to get away from that. Massively, we need to get away from that. Otherwise, we won't be able to develop as a club. We'll just be up against it all the time, and it just won't work. So. We need to be getting 25-year-olds in, and this is the other thing as well. I'm under no illusions that if we ever get any really good players, then the big teams come sniffing for really big money, then they've got to go. That's always been our way. We had probably one of our best forwards we ever had. Even though I never liked him as a person, but Wrighty, no one can deny that Wrighty's one of the best forwards we've ever had. Not the best, but one of the best forwards. And when the time was right, and Ron Nobles needed to do what he needed to do outside of Palace. He needed £2.5 million. So that was it. Gone to Arsenal. So I do believe that we need to be buying younger players, if only to have them for a year or two, do okay with them, and then move them on. It's just the way that we are. That's the only way that we can progress as a club. But keep buying, players at 28, 29, 30 years old that are only going to give us 2 years at best, and then we're not going to get really much resale value on them. I think we need to develop that side as a club as well. So, to have 3 goalkeepers is going to be good. I'm a bit just sort of saddened for Dion Henry. When he got a little bit lured, but taking out the 23s and doesn't get a chance. Sits on the bench a couple of times, and then we're going to bring in Speroni will be 3, Hennessy will be 2, Gator 1. When it puts Dion back, he'd be thinking. For me, that's not the kind of thing you should be doing. If you're bringing players in, then you should be giving them proper runs. Like we bought Bissaka through, and he got a good run. I didn't agree with what happened at the end of the season. He played Man United, Tottenham, and played against all the big clubs. And then when he came to Brighton, he got dropped. We were like, hang on a minute, Christ Almighty! If this game was built for him, designed for him, Yeah. So. But yeah, younger players for me after that little rant. Sorry.
No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Red and Blue News, and Red and Blue News with Rob Warlow from the Croydon Advertiser. Hey, Rob, Chelsea's alluded to it. How close to sailing to the wind are we on FFP?
I think Palace are not. There are clubs in worse positions. I think Palace are not too bad on that sense. I think if the players who are out of contract this summer, they've obviously released 2 or 3. Not top wage earners, obviously. But I think if Kabay signs on a lesser deal, that's, you know, if that happens with a few players that this summer Palace aren't looking at, perhaps, you know, top end like Benteke, Sacco, Zaha sort of contract star. They're the same level they're on. I think if they're looking a little bit lower, then that'll be fine. You know, I don't think Palace are too badly off in that sense.
Interesting, because we actually heard, or we thought we knew, that it was actually going to be a little bit worse. I'm going to show you something. I know you can't read it, but I'm going to show you something anyway. That is the list of the players that we have been linked with right the way through the summer. Now, I'm going to throw some of them at you. I don't expect you to know the answer to all of them, Rob, but Shaqiri, Jack Wilshere, Fabianski, Dendoncker, Jake Livermore, Lafont, Michael Antonio, Marcel Sacchi, Hiroyuki Sacchi. Any of those you can throw any lights on? Have you heard the same rumours?
Yeah, I think we've probably reported most of them as well as links. I'm quite interested watching Gel's reaction to each one as you read them out. Actually, a nod or a shake. If I can remember rightly, I'll play the generation game for a second. I think you probably nodded your head at Livermore and yes. Antonio, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Livermore is probably, out of those, the most likely, to be honest. I think he's very much a Roy Hodgson sort of signing. I think he would fit in with, yes, what I just said about, you know, not being on one of the highest earners at the club. I think he would fit in terms of what he could offer for the midfield, another option as a squad player. I certainly think that he could still could do a job for Palace. I'm not saying he'd be a regular every week, but I think he'd be a good person to have in around the squad. I think a lot of it, as I've said many times when I've been doing, you know, Facebook Lives and Q&As online, I've been saying that a lot of it would depend on what happens with Kabay and Ward, because if Kabay doesn't sign this deal, then Palace have got to replace him. And not only that, they're already looking at the moment at potentially replacing Loftus-Cheek as a regular from last year in midfield. And to replace two first-team regulars in midfield is not going to come cheaply. So they've got to look, you know, they've got to be smart about the business. And I think Jake Livermore he's not going to be 20-30 million to sign. I know West Brom will try and get the best deal for him, but if it's somewhere in the region of 10-12, just a little bit upwards of that, that's still not in the modern day of football. That's not too bad.
Money, small change, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the way the world's going with transfer fees, that's not too bad for an England international.
Well, Joe, I've got to tell you what I'm looking at on the page. They don't agree with your thoughts on Livermore. Some of the expletives on the page weren't great. Okay, Rob, I've got another one for you, and I'm going to struggle with it. Okay.
Okay.
St Etienne.
Yeah.
M Villa.
Jan and Villa.
There you go. That's why you're easy, the expert. Tell me about him first of all, okay, and tell me, is there any truth behind it?
He's certainly been linked before with Palace. I believe it was when Sam Allardyce was in charge, because he played for him at Sunderland. He's a French international, 22 caps, I believe. He's got with France. He's been playing, as you say, at St Etienne. He's got a year left on his contract at the moment. Previously played for Rennes, had a loan spell at Inter Milan. He's, you know, a player with decent pedigree. 27, I think he is.
What position?
Midfield.
What, defensive, attacking?
I think he's been described box to box.
Okay.
So you're talking then, Rob. Sorry to interrupt you, mate. I'm going to let you finish off. But, so you must be thinking then that's a direct replacement for RLC then, yeah?
I don't think he's as dynamic and drive, you know, with his drive as Loftus-Cheek is. But I think, yes, I suppose you could look at if they're looking to replace Loftus-Cheek, then that's a potential. I think he's certainly got ability. The problem, I think, that's been sort of counted against him before is perhaps consistency. He has sort of spells where he plays well and then perhaps goes missing and gets lost for a while. I think hence perhaps the reason he's not been signed permanently by some of these clubs he's been on loan at. He's at St Etienne at the moment, by all accounts, doing all right there. They're quite happy. They'd like to keep him. I think he came out and said a couple of months ago that he'd sit down in the summer and discuss his future. He's still got a year left on his contract. So it's not like he's angling for a move, but if you know, if the right offer came in, then perhaps St Etienne, with only a year left on this deal, might consider it.
Well, I can't let you leave the show without giving you the opportunity to give us an exclusive, okay? Because I know I give you my word as a scholar and a gentleman that if we get an exclusive on,
we won't say anything, all right? You just tell us.
This is between friends. There's only us three on here, okay? There's nobody watching online. I promise you. Give us a bit of goss that we don't know, that I haven't mentioned so far.
Okay. Trying to rack my brains with all the different people who.
No, a real one, not one you're making up. This is not the advertising now.
No, I'm not making it up. No. I think this is not going to be groundbreaking as an exclusive. It is going to depend on, as I said, the outcome with Joel Ward and Johan Cabaye. If Cabaye goes, then certainly I expect to see at least 1-2 midfielders, probably 2 at least, coming in this summer. I think it's going to be possibly a loan deal and a permanent. I think, as I mentioned, alluded to earlier, Jake Livermore is someone that they could go and get now, and if they want to get something done early. I don't think they're going to want to try and fill up those loan spaces too soon, because if the possibility comes that they can get Loftus-Cheek again, it's not going to become clear until mid-July, even start of the latter stages of the window, first knockings of August. I think they're going to want to keep that one space free in case, because they know, I think, that they're unlikely to get him permanently. It's A, the cost, and B, I don't think Chelsea are going to be willing to let him go permanently. I think Palace are going to be looking at a loan deal for Loftus-Cheek, if it is a big if Chelsea let him go out for another season. So it's not an exclusive as in a name I'm going to give you, but I think you'll see at least one midfielder, possibly 2, arrive, depending on the outcome with Cabaye. And obviously Loftus-Cheek as well. I know Palace fans want to see Loftus-Cheek back.
You're saying that about RLC, right? But there's a player that was on loan from Chelsea up to Newcastle, Kennedy. They're the same position. They play in the same position. And if you watch what Kennedy does for Newcastle, about blasting down and really attacking the right back and the right-sided centre back, that's exactly what RLC does. That, for me, I think Chelsea are going to need to make a decision soon about who they want to keep out of those two. And that would depend as well. And I don't know whether Newcastle had the option to buy. I don't think Chelsea give the option to buy, do they? I think they just give out loans.
They have a lot of players.
You know what I mean, though, Rob?
Yeah, no, I do. I think he's another one that, this year is going to be this summer's a big call for him, because all of these players that have been let out on loan by Chelsea and have had varying degrees of success, really, in terms of their loan spells. I think Loftus-Cheek and Kennedy are probably the 2 best examples from last season who, in the Premier League, did really well. I think we spoke about Tammy Abraham before. I think he probably needs another loan spell to try and prove himself before he could get into anywhere near the Chelsea team. I think Kennedy and Loftus-Cheek have probably put themselves in the frame to state their claim at Chelsea. And it is just going to depend on whether whoever's in charge there wants them in their squad next season. Because if they do, then they'll contribute, I believe, at Chelsea. If they don't, then there's not going to be short of takers for a loan spell next season, be it Palace, Newcastle, or another. I think there'll be other clubs in for Loftus-Cheek, certainly, if he's available.
I think big clubs, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if he has a great World Cup, then, to be honest, I think
we go straight out the window, don't we? Albeit,
I think Palace fall down the list, definitely.
Yeah, it'll probably be. I think it'll go. If he does get to lead Chelsea, I think it'll go Arsenal, Spurs. Seems like that. He's good enough.
Chelsea want to sell to a rival. I don't think they will. I know. There is the odd player who has gone. Well, yeah, there have been examples, I know, but I think with a young English player, they're not going to want to try and sell to a direct rival.
I don't think they care. That's for me. I don't think they care.
Two more quickies, if you don't mind, Rob. Before we move on to Benteke, and we'll finish off with Benteke. Your thoughts, please, on stop it, Joe. Okay, your thoughts on the accounts of the club and the reason for the delay, and what is the truth behind all the speculation about the finances of the club, please?
My understanding is that there's no issue with the finances. Everything's healthy. I spoke several times to people at the club last week about the story. I was told it was a technical issue, administrative matter, as to why it wasn't submitted, or the accounts weren't submitted by the deadline. I mean, it's unusual. You don't get Premier League clubs, companies of that size, to not meet the deadline. But when you look at the fact that the fine is £300 or £375, it's not exactly much of a huge deterrent, is it? For these?
Is that what it was? I didn't know that.
£375 with 2 months delay, on the account. So
all this business about us getting struck off was a load of crap, was it?
Oh no. Well, that's compulsory. That's a compulsory thing. They have the company house registrar companies. There's an immediate fine if you're late in filing your accounts, and it's sort of incremental by however late you are, and then once it gets to a certain point, they can give you a formal strike-off notice, and that's obviously where Palace got to, and it's 2 months from there, and as long as they submit the accounts, then that notice becomes redundant and it's discontinued. So that's where we're at. Palace have now filed the accounts to Companies House. And I understand that there's no problem.
And have you actually seen anything?
I've not seen accounts myself. No. But I'm told, by reliable sources at the club that everything's fine. It was administrative matter, a technical issue behind the late filing, and there's no cause for concern. I don't believe there's any issue financially that will come out with it. I think it is it's almost a slap on the wrist, isn't it, for the club to say don't do it again, and it's a very minor slap on the wrist at that cost.
Amateurish at best, isn't it?
I mean, it doesn't reflect well on the club, does it? The fact that they're the only ones who didn't file in time. I think it's the perception from other people.
It's embarrassment. Joe, your thoughts?
It's just embarrassing, isn't it? There's always, the thing is, we shouldn't be surprised. There's always something with Palace. There's always a mini drama or a crisis, or we just lurch from crisis to crisis, and from it's a nothing. 375 quid is everything to somebody and nothing to a Premier League football club, which is it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, it wouldn't be Palace if there wasn't some drama somewhere.
Okay, Rob, I've just been asked on the page. Okay, a question from Carl Davis is saying, what do you think our transfer budget is?
I can't. Okay. I'm not going to give you a definitive figure on that. I think it's not huge this summer. I think you've seen that even in the last summer, it was kind of all on Sacco, wasn't it? There wasn't anyone else really. There was the 2 loan deals and Jairo Riedewald. I think you'll probably be seeing this summer not quite the same level. I don't think Palace will be going to break records in terms of spending. I know that the way of the world with the transfer fees now is, you've got to pay 20 million for an average player, but I think now you're probably going to see Palace not going to say wheeling and dealing, but they're going to be looking to try and sign players at the sort of mid-range, sort of 10, 15 million, probably get 2 or 3 in. It will depend, obviously, if they can get Loftus-Cheek back on loan, that will save them potentially 20, 25 million on a replacement for him. If they can keep Gabai, that again saves them the money of trying to have to replace him. I think if they're going to be looking bigger than that, then yes, potentially they're going to have to look to sell first, one or two. But I don't believe it's not a position where they have to sell to be able to buy now. I think it's dependent on how many they feel they need. Obviously, it comes back to, like I said, Cabaye and Ward. If they've got to replace those 2, that's 2 that perhaps they weren't banking on having to replace.
Looking on doing now. So from what you're saying south of 50 million is what you're saying.
I think that's probably realistic. Yeah.
2 or 3 at 15 million quid would be south of 50 million. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably realistic. Yeah.
Okay. Danny Drinkwater is being asked by Chris on the page. Jill, would you go for Danny Drinkwater?
Yeah, well, I don't think he's the kind of player that we're after. I think we need. I think we need a centre back. Because I know we're Delaney down, but Delaney was one of our, an integral part of our team. If we got two injuries,
people are forgetting we've got Scott Dan to return as well. Don't forget.
But Scott Dan's 31. Is he 30, 31?
Yeah.
He's So this is a really serious injury that he's come back from. He is going to need a substantial runabout in the 23s to be able to walk straight back into the Premier League. That's without a doubt. So, and you all know that he was fantastic, and then he was very average. So he was just getting back to he had that big lull where a lot of people were getting on his back. I still think we're one injury at the back away from panic stations again. I really do. We can't keep. There's just a couple of things. Is Martin Kelly gone?
No, Martin Casey there.
Okay, so really we do have two at the moment. We have got two right backs, whether Ward stays or not, because Kelly can play anywhere across the back. He's played everywhere across the back, but he was for England. He was a right back. For Liverpool, he was a right back. So generally, he can play at right back, the so-called Wan-Bissaka. So, but I think we're the spine. I think we're the spine of what we're missing. We're a forward, a midfielder, and a centre back. We've got 3 left backs. We've got 3 right backs. We've got 4 centre backs with Dan. So I think we're doing. I think we need one more centre back. We definitely need. For me, I've said it for 3-4 years now. We need a genuine team. If we had a genuine team, we'd take so much pressure off Wilf. Wilf could just be the damage. He could literally just be the damage. If Benteke goes, put Wilf up front, and then put Bissaka on the right hand side. He's a winger. He ain't just a right back. He's a winger, turn right back. You've seen him when he gets forward. He's got tricks. He can cross the ball. I don't. I know we went through a stage of trying to buy utility players. For me, but I do think I think we need a forward, another genuine forward. Having Wickham come back is just having a young Benteke, which is good. I think he'll be hungry as well, Wickham. But he's made of glass. He's only, he's a stud caught in the turf away from 6 months out. So,
Rob, I want to ask you a question. Dan Simmons, my friend Dan Simmons, has just asked on the page. Juve have offered or talking about a link with PVA for £20 million. Would you take £20 million for PVA? I don't think you would go, but do you think?
No, I mean Palace aren't going to let it. I think if this had been a year ago, yes. I think now, no. I think Palace would be looking for more than that. He came in on a deal around 14 million. He's got 3 years left on the contract, so he's not. They're not going to let him go cheaply, and he's the first choice left back at the moment. And the way he performed second half of the season, he was probably behind Wilf and Loftus-Cheek. He was up there with the best players. He was as one of Palace's best players in the second half of the season. I thought there were times at the first half of the season where I think he was questioned defensively, certainly. Early on, I remember the Bristol City game in the League Cup. I mean, it was a horror show for him, but I think he really came into his own in the second half of the season. We've seen it before at Sunderland, what he can do going forward. But I think actually he's developed more of a sense defensively as well in his position. And no, I wouldn't let him go. I mean, obviously money can talk, and if someone comes in with a crazy bid, then you have to consider it, don't you? But I don't see him going.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up with one more, boys. Okay, on the transfer front, Rob,
Benteke
to Batiskas. Any truth in it?
Besiktas.
No, I've got a dodgy tooth. That's why you know.
I understand his interest, but Besiktas have been linked with him for years and years. This harks back to when he was at Villa. They were interested in him. I certainly believe, I've seen quotes and we've reported on the quotes from his agent, Eris Kismat. There's certainly an interest from Besiktas, but whether they can afford him, I think, is the big thing, because Palace aren't going to let him go for much less than they paid for him. I mean, yes, he had a bad season in front of goal last year. There's no hiding that, but they're still going to want a return if they do want to sell him, and they're not going to let him go for 10, 15 million. If someone's going to come in with 25, 30, then yeah, you might consider it. But I'm not sure that Besiktas have got that sort of level of money that they can throw at it to sign a marquee signing as a striker. I certainly think there's interest, and we reported earlier on about China as well. That's sort of reared its head again about whether there's is it Hebei China Fortune where Chris Coleman is now potentially.
Is that where he ended up? Is it?
Yeah.
He's place for him.
He's Manuel Pellegrini's replacement there at Hebei China Fortune.
Is he?
Yeah, but that's sort of reared its head again. China. I think, to be honest, if Benteke is going anywhere, it's going to be abroad. I don't see another Premier League club coming in for him after the season he's had for 25 million. If someone wants to come in from China or Turkey or wherever else and offer 25 million to Palace, then I think that you'll see them consider it. But until an offer is placed around that sort of level, he's not going anywhere.
Okay, Rob, I don't know if you've ever seen this show before, but I'm doing this just for the comedy value now. Joe, do you think we should get rid of Benteke?
I know that his agent's hawking him about. He wants one. They're all after one more big move, big money. So, but I can't. The Premier League waits for no man, and if we wait again for him and he has another dud, it's all our eggs in one basket. For me, Wolf's a better centre forward than him. The football we're playing at the moment, I think we are starting to move away from the hoof up front and get him to hold it up. We've moved away from it. We've proved that when he's not playing, we play exhilarating football. We've moved on because we had to. So
I think Benteke towards the second half of the season, the latter stage of the season, became Plan B, didn't he?
I think mentally, I think he's destroyed. I think he needs to go and start again and have a fresh start with someone else. But for me, most players do 2 or 3 years at a club. He's had 2 years. Just move on.
Joe, I think the thing with you were being extremely fair in what you said before Rob joined us, and we mentioned Benteke, and you said, let's see where he's at after 10 games this season. And do you know what? Because you mentioned, because we'll be going towards the winter transfer window. I think because I know your personal views on him, okay, because I hear it every day. It's not just on the show, guys. I hear this every day, okay, about his real thoughts on Benteke. I think you've been very fair and very honest tonight, guys. You are watching.
Can I ask Rob? Punching.
Jason Punch, go.
He's a squad player. He's no more than that now. I don't think.
Diplomat. Ever the diplomat.
I mean, let's be honest. I think his influence has waned. I think I know you've spoken about players who are 31, 32. He's around that now, and he's still a decent player to have in the squad. But I don't think he's going to be playing first choice. If Palace make the signings that I think they want to this year in midfield, I think it'll only push him further down the pecking order.
I'll make you right.
And I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Croydon Advertisers, Rob Warlow on Red and Blue News. Rob, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being on our page. We're honoured you're on your page with somebody with great knowledge and obviously close connection to the club. Feel free to come back on the show anytime during the season, mate.
No problem. Thanks, Rob.
Appreciate you coming on. I'd like to say good luck to Southampton, but I wouldn't mean it.
Certainly not on September the 1st.
Thanks, Rob.
You take care, mate. We'll speak again very soon, I hope. Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.
Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Red and Blue News with Rob Waller from the Croydon Advertiser. Don't forget to follow us on our Twitter page at Red and Blue News 1. You'll also email us. You can email us at any point during the week, 7 days a week. Somebody will pick it up. Our email address is redandbluenews@outlook.com. please drop us an email. Tell us what you'd like us to add onto the show. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't just go on there and watch all the videos, because all of these shows are going to be on there, and they're going to be on there rapidly. This one will be up. This one will be up by midnight tonight. I've just been told in my ear. And you can subscribe to us on at Red and Blue News. And he's going to put a link onto the page right now. So if it's not already showing on there, there'll be links onto our Twitter page, on our email address, and our YouTube. So please don't just go on there, but also subscribe. In the background, guys, we are being produced heavily by John Elcott and Ben Allen. Get Jill to talk about our players' moves, our sources, and how we know about what players earn. It just shuts up the knockers and stuff, is what he said. So Ben's asking you to discuss on here now, Jill, where do we get our information from? Because we do get more accurate information than a lot of other pages, apart from the Eagles of Langley.
Give up our source.
Take it. The other producer is screaming in our ears, ladies and gentlemen, not to give you out any information.
We keep given a lot of stuff, and what we do, literally, we get it sometimes up to 2 weeks. There's been a couple of times we've been told stuff, but again, it's pretty much standard for guys that have got podcasts and shows going, that they get a little bit of info and they have to sit on it, and then literally just before, because there's jobs and reputations at stake. If the information gets out and only certain people know about it, then it will become very obvious to the club or to the people that have confided in said sources. So what we're trying to do is on the page is if we put something, if one of the mods puts something up there, it won't be gospel, but it will probably be what we've been told. But then sometimes, we'll go on there and say, what about this player? What about that player? Just because obviously we can't. The news would just be slow as slow if we turn around and just gave you the snippets that we get. But obviously there is other stuff as well. We're in, whether people like it or not, we're in sort of competition with other bloggers and shows and stuff like that. So we would try, everyone's trying to outscoop each other, and I like to think there's a couple of bits and pieces that we've talked about tonight that I know for a fact that other people haven't talked about. So it's nice to be, to give out bits of information, and it's not us being, trying to be, trying to blow our own trumpets or just make up stuff just for the sake of it and get the rumour mill going. Generally, if we put something up there, it means that there is genuine interest. So unless we turn around and say, what do you think about this player? So,
okay, couple of questions for you.
We do believe, though, don't we, that there is.
Our sources are very
Livermore. Yeah, I know we have looked at him, and I know that, and the Wilshere thing, until the money became, prevalent.
Yeah.
We looked at him last year. We looked at him last year as well, but had a good look at him last year, and decided not to. And then all of a sudden, he is available. Arsenal let him go. I mean, he's a very, very good player, Wilshere, and you have to wonder why. Well, I know why we didn't get him last year, because Bournemouth came in with we were going to get him, and then Bournemouth came in and blew our deal out of the water. So, we get close to some of these big players.
Well, we've got a couple of other things we want to cover up first, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be aware that on the page we've been talking about our new emblem, logo, call it what you like, okay? We had some cracking entries by the viewers. Thank you, everybody that got involved. You'll see on the page now that we have a version of it, of what we believe will be our emblem going forward. I'm aware there is also an updated version of what you're looking at. We are very pleased with it. I think it stands out. It covers the colours. It covers the eagle, of course. It's not infringing on anybody else's copyright. But we will make a formal announcement, or John will make a formal announcement on the page over the next few days. I believe he said that we're going to leave it open until the 1st of July anyway, in case anybody can beat what we've come up with. I'll be very pleased if somebody did beat it. If you look on your screen now, you should see the cleaner version of what we've come up with. Give us your thoughts. Leave us your comments in the box below. We want to know what you think of our new.
Was the other one a porno version then?
Yeah, that was a German one. Yeah, German one with dungarees on. If you get my brief. Okay, so we've also got some friendlies coming up. Crystal Palace are heading to Scandinavia this summer to play pre-season friendlies in Denmark and Sweden against Helsingør and I think it's Halmstads, respectively. The Eagles will take on the Danish sides Helsingør on Thursday, the 12th of July, at the Helsingør Stadium, and before facing Halmstads 4 days later on Monday, the 16th of July, at Organs Vals Ground. I clearly haven't said that properly. This is quite interesting. Yeah, clearly. Shut up. This next stat that I'm going to give you, I hadn't seen anywhere else. The game against the Swedes will see Roy Hodgson reunited with the club that he started his managerial career with in the late 1970s, where he enjoyed success by lifting 2 league titles in 1976 and 79 before departing later that year. So he's actually going back to whence he started. Did you know that, Joe?
No.
Stick with me, mate. Stick with me and get some facts. Right.
Okay, £10 a pint, mate. That's a fact. Out there, £10 a pint.
I'll tell you what, Sam's going out there as well. If he thinks I'm funny, you drinking money, he can bug off. Okay, so we're going to finish up with World Cup and some questions. If anybody's got any pressing questions and answers Chris's question, no, there's no news on the newsstand. The house tickets are on sale tomorrow, apparently. There's no information on the stand. Nobody's mentioned. Mark is saying nobody's mentioned Wilf. Is he staying? You know, the reality is we don't know. Wilf only flew back today, so I'm sure that situation will be clarified very soon. I think they'll be barking to let him go, unless the club is in serious, in my opinion, unless the club is in serious financial trouble. How are you going to go and replace him? I don't care whether you get 30 million for him, 50 million, or 70 million for him. You ain't going to go out and replace him, are you? So, what will be the point in selling him? My opinion, and not that of the page.
I think if City get Mahrez, I don't think they'll go for Wilf. He won't go to Man United. The only other thing is, you know, we get told that we owe Liverpool a little bit of money, well, a fair bit of money for the 2 transfers that we've had dealings with, you know, Benteke and Sakho. That if we did sell, it would probably be to Liverpool. And you know, we'd get a substantial amount of cash, and but I think Liverpool I think they're after different kind of player. I don't think they're after wingers, so their wing backs are doing all right at the moment until they want to go back to a traditional winger or play him up front. Then I think the interest from Liverpool will wane. He won't go to United. Can't see him going to Spurs. He's a Gooner, isn't he? Is Wilf a Gooner? Sure he is.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so and Arsenal don't play that way anymore. You know, they don't play wingers anymore. So, you know, pretty much takes out most of the of the competition, unless a club comes in from abroad. That for me, if he did go, I'd love him to go to a big club abroad.
Yeah. Okay. So the last 10 minutes, folks. Your opportunity out there to ask some questions while I talk to Joe about the World Cup briefly. So if you've got anything pressing you want to discuss, now's your opportunity. Ask away now, okay? And I'll get to them in a second. Joe, your thoughts on the World Cup? Are you excited? Where do you think England will come? You do realise England are in it, don't you? Okay.
This is going to sound so bad.
Go
on. I
couldn't give it tops.
No, I'll probably watch the final. Will you not watch,
seriously, will you not watch any of the England games?
No, I'm going metal detecting. I bought my new metal detector. I'm not joking either. I've just I have no affinity with any of the players. For me, there's no. I got really into the World Cup with our golden generation, with Beckham. I don't know why. I like Beckham. I like Waddle. I like Shearer. They just seem to me. They seem they seem good, honest. They seem good, honest pros. They have personalities. You know afterwards. Gazza was probably turn up pissed, and then he'll go and get pissed again afterwards. They're just puppets. They're puppets. They are. They're just not. For me, they're not likable. They're not personable, and I've just had it. I've had it up to here with being led down at so Emman. You've got one next year, Tim. Next year you'll win at Wimbledon.
Love you, Tim.
And he never did. You know what I mean? So
well, don't forget,
I get led at the garden path all the time. So yeah, but for me, listen, and it's not a thing of club v country. I've just fallen out of love with world football. I don't really care. I'll sit there and watch, Barcelona and Madrid and Atletico and the Italian, the top Italian sides, because they've got good players.
Okay. But, thank you for the Carl Davis plug there, okay, Jill. So our very own Carl Davis is going to be out in Russia. Stay safe, mate, because we're with you. Make sure you keep that baseball cap on the right way around. They don't like them when you wear that baseball cap back to front, mate. You know the rules. But Carl's going to be reporting, hopefully, regularly back to the page. He might even do a couple of lives, depending on his Wi-Fi signal and everywhere. In actual fact, he's just responded on the page. He said it's not about affinity with the players, it's about affinity with your country, Joel Holyoke, aimed directly at you. Now, go and hang your head in shame. Chris Guns actually said he's excited for the youngsters, to be honest. Okay, and yeah, there is a bit of that. I'll tell you a quick World Cup diaries, we're calling Carl Davis's thing. His World Cup diaries. So stay tuned to the page, everybody. My son said to me a few weeks ago, "Dad, are you going to come and sit down and watch the football with me?" And it was one of the England games. I think they were playing Nigeria in one of the pre-season friendlies. And don't forget to give us your bank details and your sort code, and they'll send you the refund. Nigeria, okay? And I said to him, "Do you know how embarrassed I am, Sam?" And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm looking down that lineup in the days of Gazza and Shearer and Ian Wright playing and all the players in the past. I'm looking along that lineup, and I am struggling to name more than 3 or 4 of those players. And I love my football. It's an embarrassment. There is no world names there." Right, any questions from the audience? Because we're going to wrap it up now. Jill, do you know the pleasure of having you on for the entire show? Ladies and gentlemen out there, that reminds me, actually, I would like to ask you for some feedback, please. Because you'll notice we've got the ability to bring people onto the show now, not just 3 of us. We can have 4 or 5. It might affect the broadcast signal and strength at some point. But tell us about your thoughts on the new format of the show. Okay, this is how we hope it's going to be throughout the year. It's always going to be me and him. Okay, we've both made a commitment to each other that we don't want to do this show without each other. And more importantly, we don't want to do the show without you getting involved. So please tell your friends out there. Let us know what you think about this new format, how it looks on screen, the fact that we can bring other people in and join us as guests. Thank you, Chris. I can see yours. Joe, happy with how it's gone tonight?
Yeah, very, very. I would say that the adding the guests. I know there were, we've had a fair amount of contacts as soon as this show was announced of people wanting to come on. But obviously, this is a different format to what we're usually going to be doing. As in, just have one person on. We are going to try and have, 2 or 3 people on, but it'll be for the Palace games because obviously the affinity we have, as Palace fans. So don't be disappointed. I know there'll be 1 or 2 people that are disappointed about not getting on tonight, but don't be disappointed about not getting on tonight because, like I say, this is all about just having a chat about. A few different subjects than what we would usually cover on a match day. So, but yeah, what we do, and the other thing as well is, I think you're going to need to is get your contact in quicker to get on the show.
Email us. Email the show to get on the show.
We'll put the links up and stuff.
John will put the links up. So it was redandbluenews@outlook.com. I'll go on to just message one of the admins, says, you know who we are, Carl Davis, Nick Philpott, Joe Holyoke, John Ellicott, and Ben Allen and Sean Feeney. Just email one, drop us a private message. If you want to come on the show and spend 10 minutes with us, okay, we will be, I promise you we'll be gentle. I'll hold back the snarling tiger in the background that you can see. But yeah, I'll be gentle with you. He's not you there. Don't say you notice him. He's a pussycat at heart. He's a pussycat at heart. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching Red and Blue News. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's there for your benefit. There will be, and Nigel has just said, new tech working well. No cut off. No freezing screen. That's happened all night. That is absolutely right. And that's exactly what we wanted. So thank you for your feedback. More of the same, please. Let us know what you want on the show. Don't forget, this is your show. Sorry, it's your show. We will see you. We will be back. When are we back, Jill? Are we going to do a World Cup one at some point? No.
Well, you probably will. You probably will.
John, speaking my ear now.
Transfer deadline day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Producer. Transfer deadline day is the 9th of August. Okay, we will be live for the close. In fact, do you know what? If there is enough of you out there want to do this, don't forget, we are now the only live broadcast. Okay, I'm sure a couple of others will also be doing it on the day, but regular Sunday night live shows. We are the only ones coming to you live. On 9th of August, we will go, if it's all right with Joe, and I haven't even asked him yet, you can nod or shake your head right now, and we go right the way through to the close of the window, which I would presume will be 11 o'clock. Okay, and now he just snuffed it. So I'll just put him on the spot. Now, Lucy says, it's odd having Nick on the right and Jell on the left. Now, Lucy, what you don't know, great point, okay? You're welcome, Leslie. Lucy, what you don't know is we actually didn't actually do that. Producer John did that. Now, is it a bit like Ant and Dec having Dec and Ant, okay? Is it like Morecambe and Wise having Wise and Morecambe? It don't work. So if we need to swap... apparently, I've just been told in our ears it's more like Laurel and Hardy or Hardy and Laurel. Okay, very droll.
Who's the skinny one out of us?
What do you think? Don't leave yourself wide open, big fella. Okay, you know I love you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Red and Blue News. It's the two Ronnies. It's a good night from me and a good night from me.